Enterprises took up 6 floors in a modern office block on Park Avenue in the 50s. If the English department store chain Emma Harte had founded years ago was the visible symbol of her success, then Harte Enterprises was the living heart and sinew. An enormous octopus of an organisation with tentacles that stretched half around the world. It controlled clothing factories, woolen mills, real estate, a retail merchandise company, and newspapers in England, plus large blocks of shares in other major English companies. As the original founder of this privately held corporation, Emma still owned 100% of the shares of Harte Enterprises, and it operated solely under her aegis, as did the chain of department stores that bore her name, with branches in the north of England, London, Paris, and New York. Harte Stores was a public company, trading on the London Stock Exchange, although Emma was the majority shareholder and chairman of the board. The diversified holdings of Harte Enterprises in America included real estate, a 7th Avenue dress manufacturing company, and other stock investments in American industries. Whilst Harte Stores and Harte Enterprises were worth millions of pounds, they represented only a portion of her fortune. Apart from owning 40% of the stock in Cytex Oil Corporation of America, she had vast holdings in Australia, including real estate, mining, coal fields, and one of the largest fully operating sheep stations in New South Wales. In London, a small but rich company called EH Incorporated controlled her personal investments and real estate. It had been Emma's custom to travel to New York several times a year. She was actively involved in all areas of her business empire, and although she was not particularly distrustful of those to whom she had given extraordinary executive powers, confident of her own shrewd judgment in these choices, there was a canny Yorkshire wariness about her. She was impelled to leave nothing to chance, and she also believed that it was vital for her presence to be felt in New York from time to time. Now, as the Cadillac that had brought them from Kennedy Airport pulled up in front of the skyscraper that housed her corporate offices, Emma's thoughts reverted to Gay Sloane. Emma had instantly detected Gay's nervousness during their first telephone conversation when she had arrived from London. Originally, Emma had thought this was due to tiredness after the long transatlantic flight, but the nervousness had accelerated rather than diminished over the last few days. Emma had noted the tremulous quality in Gay's voice, her clipped manner, her obvious desire to terminate their talks as quickly as possible. This not only baffled Emma, but disturbed her, for Gay was behaving totally out of character. Emma contemplated the possibility that personal problems might be upsetting Gay, but her inclination was to dismiss this idea, knowing Gay as well as she did. Intuitively, Emma knew that Gay was troubled by a business problem, one which was of some import, and one which ultimately affected her. She resolved to make her talk with Gay the priority of the day's business. Emma shivered as they alighted from the car. It was a raw January day, and although the sun was bright in a clear sky, the wind was sharp with frost and Atlantic rain. She could barely remember a time when she had not felt ice cold all over, and sometimes it seemed to her that her bones were frozen into solid blocks of ice, as if frostbite had crept into her entire being and petrified her very blood. That numbing, excruciating coldness that had first invaded her body in childhood had rarely left her since. Not under the heat of tropical sun, nor in front of blazing fires, nor in the central heating of New York, which she usually found suffocating. She coughed as she and Paula hurried towards the building. She had caught a cold before they had left for Texas, and it had settled on her chest, leaving her with this hacking cough that flared up constantly. As they swung through the doors into the building, Emma was for once thankful for that furnace-like heating in her offices. They took the elevator up to the 30th floor, where their own offices were located. "I think I'd better see Gay at once, and alone."